Yeah, recording is being started. Hi, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. And My name is Venkat, and I am the cloud transformation architect who turns digital transfer dreams into reality. So, I have 14 years of experience with enterprise technologies. So, I have evolved from curious engineer into a cloud solution architect at a career byte code where I don't just build the systems, I architect the future of digital infrastructure. And I'm also having my engineered with multi cloud ecosystems, including Azure, AWS, and GCP. And I architect infrastructure as a code using Terraform and Ansible for transforming manual process into the automated symphonies. And also I design container orchestration with Kubernetes and Docker, creating microservices architecture into scalable, adapt like living organizations. And at a career byte code, I'm not just a cloud solution architect, I'm a digital transformation catalyst, turning ambitious ideas into robust, scalable, future ready solutions that drive business impact. And so I'm going to hand over to my colleague, who is a Prasanna, to give brief introduction about himself. Prasanna?
Uh, yeah, thanks, Venkata. And my name is Prasanna Anjaneya, and totally I have 13 years of experience in IT, and I am currently working as a cloud DevOps consultant. And I have I worked on multiple cloud tools like Azure and GCP, and where I can build the infrastructure using the Terraform and managing the user management and infrastructure management using the Ansible, and building the Docker images and Kubernetes using the AKS and the GKE, Azure and GCP, building the microservices and the API management for small images and those stuff, scaling and securing the microservices, and fastness to the cloud enthusiast. And that this is the overview of myself. And let's dive into the today's session. Um, uh, Today we are talking about the session like VPN gateway, VNet to VNet VPN gateway, where about this session is about. After this session, you are going to we are going to learn about VNet fundamentals, uh, and what is the VNet to VNet peering, and how we are going to configure the VNet gateways, and the key difference between the VNet to VNet peering and VPN gateways. And we are going to show how we are going to implement the VNet to VNet gateway, and how we are going to establish a communication between the two VMs in the different regions, and how we are going to communicate using the VNet to VNet gateway. The fundamentals, like what is the VNet in Azure, like the logical isolation of the network in Azure, where this can be used for secure communication between the Azure resources, where we can deploy the multiple resources in the VNet. And inside the VNet, we have a subnet, like the subdivision within the VNet, splitting the IP address for different workloads, like for applications and databases, where we can isolate the resources within the VNet. And the subnet, now the gateway subnet is like a special subnet which is reserved for the Azure gateway subnet, and the name should be like gateway subnet, and it should be reserved for the /24 IP address. Like it's a required minimum 32 IP address for the gateway subnet, and we cannot use this subnet for any other applications to deploy in the subnet, because it's dedicated to the gateway subnet. And mm, and the use of the VNet to VNet gateway, like yeah, you can the use of the VNet gateway, like the communication between the VNet gateways to create a secure and encrypted tunnel between the two VNets, and the transit routing is the most significant advantages when we are using the VNet to VNet gateway, because the VNet to VNet peering is not in a bidirectional, and so we cannot. It's not a secure, and the data is not encrypted, but in the VNet to VNet gateway, it's in a secure and the data is encrypted. The traffic is encrypted and sent to the destinations. So this is the most benefits where we want to have an compliance perspective or a regulatory perspective. We can implement this VNet to VNet gateway, because some of the companies or some of the banking sector, whenever they are performing an audit request, they will ask us how the data is encrypted, and we can show them the data is encrypted using the VNet to VNet gateway, and we can uh, prove prove them the way of how the data is encrypted using the VNet to VNet gateway. Uh, yeah, the next slide is like how we are going to implement the VNet to VNet gateway. So this is the overview architecture, how the way which we are going to explain in today's session. Like we are going to create one research group in the East US, and inside the research group we are creating the two VNets. One is in East US, another one is West US, and in the East US we are going to create one subnet for the VM and another subnet for the virtual network gateway, and that is dedicated, and we cannot modify the name and anything, and the subnet mask should be /27, and we are going to create the network security group in the subnet where we are going to deploy the VM and should have an access to the port 22, so we can able to access the server from outside. And it's an inbound outbound rule where we can control the traffic from the inside or outside, from Azure to outside, and from internet to the inside the Azure. We can define the inbound outbound rules in NSG level. And in another site, we are going to deploy we are going to replicate the same in West US, where we are going to create the same subnet for the another VM. Mm, and we are going to create the network security group, and to allow the port 22, and we are going to deploy the virtual network gateway in West US. Uh, this subnet mask should be 27 and same as like East US. And once the both subnet and virtual network gateway is deployed, we are going to establish the connection between the both VNet virtual network gateways. This is a bidirectional. When once we establish the connection in East US, it will automatically connected to the West US. We have an option to check box on the bidirectional. We'll show you in the hands-on experience in today's session. So it uses the IPsec tunnel protocol to transit the data between two VNets or across the between two VNets and subscriptions, and from Azure to another cloud provider or on premises. So the data will be secure and encrypted in IPsec protocol using the IPsec protocol. Yeah, that's it about the today's session. So let's dive into the hands-on lab. So I'm going to share my session. Venkata, you can stop the session.
Thanks, Prasanna.
Yeah,
The
yeah. I'm
explanation.
handing to the Venkata to implement the lab today. Yeah. And
Yeah. Prasanna, thanks for your explanation. What is the VNet gateway? What is why we need the peering? What is the difference between the VNet peering to VNet gateway? So what is the advantages over the VNet peering? So now we are going to see the real-time scenario, right? How we are going to implement no, we need to pairing no, gateway, and how we are going to test the connectivity if I have the multiple VMs in two different VNets, how they are able to communicate and with the private with the private IP addresses, not the public IP addresses, and why we need the um, uh, gateways when we have the peering, and why we need the gateways. So we are going to see in a couple of minutes. So in order to implement, we are going to implement no, this live demo in the portal, no, azure.portal.com. So hope you are able to see my screen. So first we are going to create the resource group. So in order to create any resources in the Azure, either in the Azure portal or Cloud Shell or Azure CLI, so we need to first create the resource group. So in order to create the resource group, just go on. Once you just go to portal.azure.com, so you need to enter the user credentials, the username and password with the credentials. So I already logged in. Just search for the resource group in the search bar, right? So currently there are no resource groups. So I'm going to create the resource group first. So my resource group name is so we can create as per the your organization standard naming convention. So I'm going to create the resource group name is as RG is a resource group prod VNet gateway. Here we are going to create the the live demo for the VNet gateway. So I just keeping the name like this, and we are going to keep this region is East US. Just review and create. So once a resource group is created, the next step is we need to create the two VNets in two different regions. So the gateway peering, gateway connections can be within same region or inter-region. So it could be in anywhere. You can keep in Houston, West US, or one in London, one in the US. So across the region, across globes, you can enable the communication, and the communication will happen to the backbone of Azure network. So first we need to create, in order to test our communication between the two VNets. So first we need to create the two VNets in two different regions. So just search for the virtual network and select the virtual network and create the virtual network. Click on the create virtual network. So again, the names are as you can give any name, but just I recommend use as per the your company standard recommendation. So in order to create any resource, as I said earlier, it should be in the, you have to keep in the resource group. So since we have only one resource group, it is auto populated while creating the virtual network. So first we are going to create the virtual network in the East US. So I'm going to keep the name VNet prod East US 01, and the resource region is East US, and click next security. And I'm going to keep all are the default options. I'm not going to use anything, but any special feature as at moment, and click the address. So address is like what is your VNet boundaries. So how big you need the VNet, how many resources you are going to keep your net. Based on that, you need to block the, or you need to mention the addresses. Since so we have maximum of in a single VNet virtual network, we can keep maximum of 65,536 IP addresses, and we can again the VNet we can divide into subnets with the multiple of 256. So current I'm going to uh, create the VNet with the CIDR block with the 10.10.00 with slash 16. So which is going to keep my IP addresses from 10.10.00 to 10.255.255 65,000. And once in the, and it will be created by default one subnet, but I want to just change the my default subnet name. So in order to mention the name as a default, I'm going to use my first subnet as a first subnet one, as it's a first subnet, right? And I'm giving the The range of size of subnet is 255. So it means I can have 256 IP addresses in a single subnet, and just click on save. So this is one. We are going to create one VNet with one subnet. So now we have created VNet in the East US, and next we'll be creating the VNet in the West US. So then only we can able to test the communication between the two VNets. So currently deployment is in progress. So one it is since one while deployment is in progress, we can go and create another virtual network without any issues. So it's already deployed, and I'm going to create another virtual mission. Sorry, another virtual network. So since when you selected the first virtual network, it was automatically selected RG Prod VNet Gateway. But when you created first your resources, Network Watcher RG resource group also will be created automatically while you're creating first a resource. So since we are going to keep all our resources in the RG Prod VNet Gateway. So and select the resource group, and the resource VNet name is VNet Prod West US. Now we are going to create this VNet into the West US. Just come just down and select the West US. So now by this we will have two VNets and select the IP addresses. So and whenever you are going to establish the communication between the two different VNets, the VNet IP address range should be unique. So since earlier we have created 10.10, now we will be taking 10.20. So it should not be the same. If you have the same, it will be conflict, and we will not able to establish the communication. So that such a reason you need to have the IP addresses range always unique when you so you need to plan the unique IP addresses based on the how big the organization you are going to create. Then the default subnet also will be creating. So I just want to rename this also again as subnet 1, since we are going to create this subnet in different VNet. So I'm going to create the same subnet 1, so it will not have any issues. And the size of subnet is again 255. So we have that total, we have the 256 IP addresses. Just and review and create. Now we have created two virtual networks, the now with the default subnet. So in order to deploy virtual network gateway, we need to have a dedicated virtual network gateway subnet for each VNet. So that's a so for that reason we are going to create one more subnet, which is a virtual network gateway subnet in each VNet. So in order to create, we just need to go to the virtual net which you have just created and select first one, then go to the settings. There is an option subnets. So if you see there is only one virtual network, one subnet. Now we are going to create one more subnet, which is if you see the subnet purpose, earlier one was default, but now we are going to create a new subnet. We have multiple purpose. We have the Azure Bastion, Azure Firewall, and VNet gateway. So we are going to create this particular subnet is dedicated for the virtual network. So virtual network gateway should have a dedicated subnet. And since the subnet won't require gateway subnet won't require 255 addresses, so we are going to reduce this size to the 27, so that we'll have 32 IP addresses, which is more sufficient for the subnet gateways. Just click on add. So once subnet is added, we'll go to the another virtual network, which is the West US. Then we'll add the subnet gateway there in that VNet as well. So select the purpose is virtual network gateway, and size is 27. So we can still use 24, but it's a waste, waste of IP addresses. You can use those IP addresses for different no virtual machines when you have the demand is there. So instead of blocking the all IP addresses for virtual network gateway, we can just take the as much as minimum number of subnet range. So now we have created two virtual networks, two subnets and subnet gateway as well. Now, in order to the establish the connection between, or in order to create the connection between the two VNets or two sub, we need to have the gateway has to be deployed in each VNet. Just search for the virtual network gateway, virtual network gateways, and click the VPN gateway. We have two different gateways. One is express route, another one is VPN. Since we have the, we are going to this scenario, we are going to create the VPN gateway. Just click the VPN gateways. So currently there are no gateways, VPN gateways. So I'm going to create one gateway for the East US VNet, another for the West US VNet. So subscription as usual. So since you get subscriptions, it means you can deploy the VNet gateways in different subscriptions, and you can enable the communication. So currently we are going to keep all your resources in the same subscription pay as you go, and I'm going to give the virtual network gateway name. So which will be then again as per the you can say is company standards are meaningful. Right? Let me take the one meaningful virtual gateway. So which you can easy to understand by reading the, by just looking at the name, we can easily understand. So virtual network gateway, prod ETUS01. So by looking at this is a virtual network gateway, which is domain is prod and located in the USTS. So the region is by default selected US, and gateway type. So as I said earlier, we have two types of gateways. One is VPN, another one express route. So we are going to use gateway. Then we need to have the SKU. Since it is PaaS services, we have to use the um, no, SKU model. So based on the SKU model, we get the services from the Azure. So since we are going to use this in lab, we don't need the higher SKU type. I'm just going to VPN gateway 1, and you can select the generation 1. By default, we have only one generation in the VPN gateway. Then, so where we are going to create this virtual network gateway, we are going to East US. Each is already we have one virtual network already deployed and we created. So select that virtual network. If you have multiple, so you'll get the multiple virtual networks. And by default, it has auto populated to subnet. Since we already deployed subnet, which is dedicated for the subnet gateway, it's also auto filled. Then, so the communication is happened between the public APIs. The main purpose of the gateway is communicating the two sides by using the public IP with the encryption. So for the reason we should have the public IP. So I'm just going to give the public IP name, which is also again naming standards. VNet gateway prod is to use public IP 01. And we have two types of publics. If you want public gateway always up and should have active, we can go with the active, but for this scenario we do not require the active, so we just go with the disabled. And configure BCP, we are not enabling the BCP as well. For this scenario, disable the BCP. Right, now just review and create virtual network gateway. So we have just validation is passed, create. So while its deployment is in progress, we can go and create another virtual network gateway in West US. So just wait for the submitting to the deployment in progress. Yes, now again go and create virtual network gateway in the West US. Again, click on there and click VPN gateways. So since it's deployment in progress, you're not able to see until it is completed. So meanwhile, we can go ahead and create virtual network gateway. Again, so we are going to create one more virtual network gateway in West US. So I'm going to use the name. So easy to understand and to differentiate from East US to West US. So VNet gateway prod West US 01 and the region is West US. And again, gateway type as similarly earlier, it's a gateway is VPN and SKU VPN gateway 1 is enough for this use case and generation 1. And where we are going to deploy this VNet gateway is in the VNet prod West US. And again, it required the public IP because the communication between the two VNets, as I said, it has to be through the public. That's what our recommendation, that's what our purpose. So that's a public IP. And again, we don't require the active mode availability between the two VNets for this use case and disable the use case. Is disable the configure BJP and review and create. And while the gateway will take time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So meanwhile, we'll go ahead and create the uh, two virtual machines, one in each default subnet, and then we'll verify the communication. So how the communication is happened or not. If not, then how could uh, uh, if the communication is not happen, then we'll enable the we'll create the VNet to VNet gateway connection. Then we can see the communication is established or not by using the private IP addresses. So now we are going to create the virtual machines, one virtual machine in each default subnet. So currently there are no virtual machines in my subscription. So I'm just search for the virtual machine and create. So we are going to a basic virtual mission for this scenario, so which avoids the cost for you as well if you want to implement a similar one in your home lab. So again, so we are going to keep all resources in the single resource group, so which can easy to maintain, and in case if you're not required, right, we can go ahead and delete the resource group, which will delete all the resources at a time. Then I'm going to create the virtual machine. So again, this is a naming standard. So I'm going to keep the VM prod east US 01. If you have another virtual machine, I keep 02 so that it will be unique east US. And availability options. You know that there is, if you want the redundancy and availability, we have multiple options. But for this scenario, we are not going to use any availability options. So no redundancy is required. Then for we are going to use the Ubuntu OS, so with Gen 2 and architecture is x64, and size is standard 1B, which is more than sufficient for our testing for our communication between two VNets. And there are two authentication types, so we can use SS public key or we can use the password. So to make smooth, so we are going to use the password and username and password. We can just make sure the username and password you copy somewhere and store securely, so that you don't make issues with while entering the password wrongly or username. So we'll not have any troubleshoot, no need to make spend time on the troubleshooting. So I'm going to use Azure user and password, so as per your uh, company or how strength it is, so that in case if anyone tries to access, they will not able to authenticate access. And inbound ports, so we are going to allow the traffic by using SH22. So since we want to test the communication between the two VNets by deploying the virtual machine, and in order to test the connectivity, you need to log into virtual machine. So in order to log in virtual machine, so from the outside, you need to enable the inbound SSH22 to log into PuTTY or SSH. So for that reason, I'm going to enable the SSH. So but while creating virtual machine and disks. So since by default we are getting the premium SSD, which is again not required that expensive disk, you can go with the standard HDD. Then networking. So since we are going to create this VM into the East US, already one virtual network is there and one subnets are auto populated and public IP. So we can use the since we want to, if you want to log into the VM from outside, you need to have one public IP. So right, just go and create the public IP. Let, let me give the same name so that we can have easy to remember. Create new public IP and click OK. And as said, public imports already we selected earlier, so which is 22 is going to enable in order to take SSH into virtual machine. And review and other options are default. You don't need to worry about what are they, no need to do any modification, just review and create. So once this is done, we are going to create one more virtual machine into the West US. And then we'll try to try to test the connectivity between two virtual machines by using the private IP addresses, and then see we are able to uh, test the connectivity successful or not. So then if testing is not success, then we'll go and deploy the gateway connections, enable the peering between both the gateway connections, and again check the connectivity. So which shows that how the gateways are connecting and how the gateways are working in two different no, virtual missions in two different regions. So then we're going to get one more virtual mission. Meanwhile, the existing virtual machine will be creating state. So you can see that virtual machine is created successfully for first one, and we are going to take the second virtual mission. Creating second virtual mission. Should be created in West US. Just come down and select the West US. Yes, West US. So all are the default option. Hope everyone we are already how to create a virtual machine. So I'm not going to discuss all about these options. Again, password. The authentication type is password and Azure user. So I'm going to use as Azure, which is a standard, and password is a complex. So we should not don't reveal to people so that since it's a sensitive. Then again, the public inbound port are going to enable SSH2, and this same we can achieve this by using the right creating energy network security cube separately if you are not enabling here, and the 30 GB is enough. And again, I'm going to select the standard HDD networking. So since we have already have one West US VNet and subnet, we are going to the public IP management, and you can keep the remaining all default options, review and create. Mm. So once it's done, we go and see the virtual gateways what we deployed. What is the current status? As it take 20-25 minutes to deploy the gateways, so we can see their status updating. Let's go and see the virtual network gateways. So still, I think it's in progress. Let me refresh. Yeah, deployment is in still progress. So meanwhile, no, we'll check the virtual machines. We'll log into the virtual machine and try to do the test connectivity by using the private IP addresses. So in order to log into virtual machine, you should need the public IP. So take the public IP. So I'm going to use the putty to log into the virtual machines, right? So as you know or aware, we are you created the pass authentication type is password. So that means username and password need to provide. So username Azure user and password whatever you have given while creating the VM. You need to enter the same password, right? You're logged into the VM prod used to use, and again just logged into the another virtual machine. So I'm just going to take putty again. Azure user and password, whatever you have provided while creating the virtual machine. Okay. And the test connectivity between the now, as you can see the scenario, right? Whatever so far we have done, let me just take the diagram so that you can easily understand before the gateway deployment is success. So far what you have done is we have created one resource group, which is RG Pod VNet Gateway in East US, and we have created two VNets. One is in East US with the CADR block 10.10.0.16, another VNet West US, which is 10.20. And we have created two subnets. One is default subnet one, another one is virtual network gateway subnet. So we have created two subnets in each VNet, and then we have deployed VNet gateway in the VNet gate subnet and in each VNet, and we have created two virtual machines, one in each VNet, and it will have one pipe. We have and we are logged into private public IP. Now, in order to test the communication between these two virtual machines which are resided in two different VNets without virtual network gateway connections. We have the virtual network gateways are deployed, but we didn't have any IP tunnel, IPsec tunnel. We didn't enable any communication. We didn't. So we're going to test the connectivity. We'll see if we're able to communicate or not. So let me take the public private IP addresses from each. So since it's a first virtual machine, the IP address should start with the 4. So 10.10.0.4, which is in East US. And if you go and select the West US, which is 10 dot should be 10.20.04, 10.20.04. So let's go and do the test connectivity between two virtual. Let minimize so that we can easily see both. So I'm going to just ping the other IP address to East US 10.10.0.4. So ping is not working. It means there is no communication between two virtual machines. Let's try from this direction. From the East US 10.20.0.4. Sorry, I just missed the ping command. So which means there is no communication between two virtual machines which are in the two different gateways. Now and go and see what is the gateway status. Virtual network gateways. So still it's still in progress. So you can see deployment is in progress. So since it's taking time, so right, it may taking 20-25 minutes to deploy the virtual net gateways. So to save, considering that we have the limit time and considering this, so we have already deployed no, the gateways, the similar setup into the another subscription. So we are going to look at from there. So now from now, I'm hand overing to the to the Prasanna. So who is going to show the status of virtual network gateway and how to create the connections between the two virtual gateways, then test the connectivity. Right now the test connectivity was not successful, so we are unable to test the connectivity without gateways. So Prasanna, I'm just hand over to you.
Thanks, Venkata, for the well explanation, and we can get overview of the how we can able to deploy the VNets and subnets and the virtual network gateway subnet, and how we can able. Now I am going to share my screen where the setup is already configured, and I have deployed the VNet gateway and all the VMs. I am going to share now. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, Prasanna.
Yeah, this is an overview what Venkata did, and we have deployed the VNets in East US1 and West US1, and we have created the virtual network gateway, in virtual network subnet in East US, and same we have replicated in West US. Now I'm going to show you the virtual network gateway, and go to the VPN gateway, and we have two type of Azure provides two type of network gateways. One is the VPN gateway, and another one is the express route. And the benefit of the VPN gateway is both gateways are encrypted and secure, and where we can use the VPN gateway. The VPN gateway we can use in site-to-site VPN connection, or the point-to-site. Like if you want to connect from Azure to the AWS or GCP, we can use the site-to-site VPN. And our on-premises where we have a data center, if you want to connect the on-premises data center to the Azure, we can use the site-to-site VPN connection. And we have another VPN connection type like point-to-site, where we are using, like if you want to do an point-to-site, means from your laptop to the Azure or your office connection, the like how we are connecting from when we are doing the work from home, we are going to connect the VPN connection, right? The same way the point-to-site VPN connection is going to work. And another one is the express route, and the express route also support the secure and encrypted traffic. And this is a dedicated VPN connections. This is an if we have a more data to transfer from uh, more data to transfer, then we can use the express route, and it will it support from the speed of the express route is 10 Gbps and above. And whereas the EPN gateway, it will between the data transfer is between 600 Mbps per second to the 100 Gbps per second, based upon the SKU models which we are going to support, which we are going to select. So this is an overview of the VPN gateway and express route. And this VPN gateway, if I click on this one, it's already deployed. And if you click the connections, so there is no connections now between East US to the West US. Now I am going to establish the connection, so that we can get the ping response between the two VMs. The resource group and VNet, this is the option when we are selecting the bidirectional option. If it will work like a vice versa. whereas on VNet peering, we cannot able to select this bidirectional connection. The name which we are going to use, this we are I'm going to use from east to west to the west to east, the first connection, and the second connection is the west east to east to east. And if you go and click on next settings, this one is the first VNet gateway where we have deployed the VNet gateway, that is the east US, and the second virtual network gateway is then west US, and the SKU, the authentication method which you are choosing the shared key. I'm going to enter the password for this shared key. So IKE protocol, we are using the IKE v2, and rest of will be the default, and review and create. And create the connection. The deployment is initiated now. Since the deployment got failed, let me check. The settings for PS2, 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 share the key. It will be the same. We will press create. Final validation is running. Let me check whether now the deployment is in progress. The previously it got failed due to the IKE, the authentication password which I mentioned is not up to the strong. That's the reason it got failed. If you go to the virtual network gateway, the connection is creating now. It's updating the backend. It's updating all the parameters to have an IPsec protocol, to have an encrypted data security protocols. Once it's updated, the status should be connected, and we can able to see the connections between the two VMs. We should be able to ping each other. Yeah, now the connection is established. Let me stop and share my entire screen so that you guys can able to see. See, when I establish, it's getting ping both each other, and but the connection will show you as unconnected. Still, it's updating the connection. Yeah, but it's showing as unknown, but it will take some time to update the connection status as a connected, because it will take some time to sync the VNets and everything. If you want to verify, we can verify the connections, how the data is transferring from which VNet to the another VNet. You can use the network watcher hub. Network watcher. In the network watcher, if you go to the Nest hub, you can able to select the resource, the subscription, and the resource group. The virtual machine is in East US, the name of the virtual machine, and the network interface is in East US interface, the VM interface, and the source IP address is in uh, East US VM IP address, and destination is then West US, which we are going to test 0.4. And you can see the Nest Hub, which whether it's using the VPN gateway or another connections. So we can able to see this here, because when we deployed the connection, VNet to VNet connection, it's showing as unknown, but we can able to see the ping response. And here you can see the Nest hub type is the virtual network gateway. So that the traffic is flowing from virtual network gateway. So it proves that we can able to deploy the connection. We can able to communicate both VMs, and you can see now whether it's the connection status is updated or not in the virtual network gateway. Okay. Connection still it's showing as unknown, but it will take some time to sync. So that's why I showed you in the network watcher, and it proved that then what is the Nest hub it's using is the virtual network gateway. So this is an overview of the today's session, and I'm handovering to the Venkata to explain further like pros and cons and what is the difference between the VNet to VNet peering and VNet gateway. Yeah, over to you, Venkata.
Yeah, thanks, Prasanna. So as you know, you see the putty, ping communication is working as expected. So before gateway connections, connection peering and created, we are not able to do the ping session. But as soon as Prasanna has created the uh, gateway connections, so you both the VMs are able to communicate through the VNet gateway public IP address, which indicates that virtual machines, which is resided in the two different virtual networks in different regions, are able to communicate successfully with the virtual network gateway via public IP addresses. And now let's go and see what, no, why we need the virtual network gateway. We have the similar uh, concept or similar use cases are there by similar we can implement using the um, VNet peering. No, why we need to have the virtual network gateway connections. Let me share my screen. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can able to see it.
Yes. And if you're going to see, we have the similar exactly, we can achieve the two different VNets in different regions. We're able to communicate through the VNet peering, right? We can able to communicate, which is easy to implement. But why we have to go to the VNet gateway? So the main reason is, so there your company or your organization has a requirement to communicate to the public, to the internet, right? If you use the VNet peering, which is not encrypted, so which is not secure. So in order to encrypt and secure your connection or encrypt your data, so we have to use the VNet gateway. That is one, and very very important. Another one is when you are using the right VNet to VNet gateway, if you want to communicate between site to site, right? If you want to go to the on premises to the cloud, if you want to establish the communication, so VNet peering is not is a right solution, which is between the VNet, Azure to Azure. But if we have the requirement between your on premises as to communicate with the your Azure VNet, so which is the right which is the right scenario for the VPN gateways. And right, we have implemented, and you see how it was. But what is the what is the advantage and disadvantages? The first advantage is the security, as the communications have happened within the by using the secure protocol, by using your own IPsec or key pass key, so which is have and it's encapsulated, and again the communication is happen between the Azure backbone. It's not going to the public, though it's we are going to public IP addresses. And again, scalability, the right, if you VNet peering, if you want to enable VNet A to VNet B and VNet B to VNet C, and A and to C is not able to communicate. But with the uh, VPN, and if you establish the communication A and B and B and C, then A and C also able to communicate. And again, the compliances. So if you have the requirement to to and to encrypt the data, so by using a VPN only, we can encrypt the data. What is the disadvantages? It's a complex setup. You can see, right? We have to deploy the gateways, we have to deploy the VPNs, we have to have one public IP, which is again more cost than the unit peering. And again, latency, since it's not right having the VPN is it's VPN is only right one GPS data is providing, which mostly, or if you have more data, if you out, then you have to go to the express route. But generally VPN is having the latency issues. And maintenance, again, you have to you maintain the security, those performance maintenance also is burden for the when you implement VPN gateways. And this is for the today's session. And if you have any questions, so I'm just going to just you can keep free to ask, or if you have any another scenario, if you want us to implement, so please provide the scenario, contact us at the LinkedIn. Let me stop my screen, and we'll have any questions, we are ready to take and answer. Yeah, you are able to unmute yourself now. Please let us know if you have any questions, or if you want to get any feedback, you can provide a feedback as well. We are happy to take the feedback as well.
If you don't have any questions about today's session, then we can wind up the call. And if you have any further requirement, the scenario-based questions, please feel free to reach us in LinkedIn so that we can able to prepare and present for the upcoming use cases. Yep. Mm.
Pradna this side. Thanks, Prasanna and Venkata, for this wonderful demo. So, yeah, I'm good with overall the demonstration, and yeah, it's clear for me as well. So, no additional doubts at this point of time. But yeah, in near future, yeah, I will be glad to join the similar demos as well. Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pradnya, for your valuable feedback. It's more appreciate.
Yeah.
And Uma, thanks for your feedback as well. If you have any scenarios, scenario based any requirement, we can feel free to reach to us.
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Have a nice
Yep.
day.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
You
Bye
too,
bye.
too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.